Hey everybody, I'm Steve Green, and this is your right angle lightning round. I love doing these things. Listen, you know the drill. On a normal show, we hash it out backstage, which is for members only. So if you're not a member, you're missing out on the good stuff. We hash out a good story, and then we talk about it in depth here on Right Angle, but not on a lightning round. Oh no! In a lightning round, I pick 4 headlines, 2 each for Bill and Scott. They have no idea what's coming. None at all. We don't talk about these. I just taunt them in the backstage with the fact that I have secret headlines. So if you want the hottest of hot takes, well, here you go. Let's see. Bill, you won the coin toss. So we're going to start with you. Antifa activists suspected of attacking a Republican club in New York. The Metropolitan Republican Club in Manhattan was vandalized with Antifa graffiti. The vandals left fake body bags at the front door of the building. Our mutual friend Kurt Schlichter likes to say that the left wants you dead, and I'm starting to believe him. How about you?
They try doing that in other states. They're going to need the body bags.
Yeah, New York is
That's what it's going to come down to. If the Democrats manage to pull off this deal, which is still an open issue, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris become the heads of the federal government and continue their policies of courting BLM and Antifa and all the rest. And they're not the same, by the way, those two groups. But Antifa is just nothing but a group of street thugs. It's the SA. It's the street muscle that the Democratic Party uses to intimidate people. And there's going to come a point, and we're getting pretty close to it now, where the rule of law has been so badly, I almost said eroded, but dynamited is a better word, I suspect, that we are soon going to reach a point where people are going to have to take the law into their own hands and defend themselves and their property. And that is what they're hoping for, I think. So what I found about Antifa is they're profoundly intimidating in their black masks and their black boots and their black jackets and their black everything until they run into any actual living, breathing opposition, in which case they go into the fetal position and start to cry. I think it's very hard for people who are law-abiding people to break the law, but I suspect that the patience of the honest and civil people in this country does in fact have a limit, and I suspect that Antifa will be a large part of finding out where that limit is.
You know, Bill, you just reminded me of one of my favorite lines at Casablanca, where Rick's sitting down with the Nazi bigwigs, and the major's kind of taunting him with, what if the Nazis invaded New York City? And Rick says, there are certain sections of New York City, Major, that I'd recommend you not try to invade. What happened to that New York City?
They didn't get invaded for 200 years.
There you go. There you go. Scott, let's go to you. McGill University, our Canadian friends, the student union there demands that a professor, a conservative, lose his title and that campus free speech be curtailed in the name of inclusivity, because inclusivity means silencing and preferably also firing anybody you don't agree with, particularly if they're white. What?
You know, normally when you go
I don't even know what to ask.
A university, the idea is because somehow by being there rather than where you were before, you'll be able to tap into deeper reserves of knowledge and wisdom and ideas with which you have not yet grappled effectively. And it would open up a whole new world to you. And in fact, the big complaint in the past has been that, kids go to universities and they come back with these crazy ideas and have fights with their parents. But it seems like the kids are now showing up at universities and saying, somebody, first of all, before I step outside of my dormitory, could you just bar the library door? Number one. Number two, could you do what are those called, those tests where you test the pH of the swimming pool?
Chlorine test.
Yeah. I want you to run that test. Like there should be a little test strip that you put under the tongue of every professor to find out if they've got any dangerous ideas, ideas that formed the foundation of the nation in which you have now enjoyed this liberal education. I don't get that. I continue to be flummoxed by people who cannot even look at something that they don't already believe to be true. I mean, my entire reading and watching regimen is comprised mostly of ideas that I don't agree with or understand, because I want to make sure I'm being accurate in my understanding of them, and that if I'm debating them, I want to make sure that I'm accurately characterizing the people that I disagree with. And so I also read stuff that I agree with, but a lot of times I find that a little tedious, because it's like, okay, yeah, tell me something I don't already know. And so I want to be challenged. I want to be knocked back on my heels and made to stand up on my own hind legs and be able to defend myself in a reasonable and rational manner. And these poor kids who are going to go out and face a world that doesn't have a way of shutting that down anymore. And they're going to have to grapple with people at work who disagree with them and who mock them. And they won't have a way to just say, hey, la, 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 la. You know, you can't just make it go away.
No, I guess not. You know, this guy just reminded me of something over the weekend while my wife was out of town. Because I'm a horrible parent, I watched National Lampoon's Animal House with my 14-year-old. And, of course, one of the first things you see in that movie is the statue of what's-his-name, Faber, the founder of Faber University.
Knowledge is good.
Yeah, knowledge is good. And now it's knowledge unwanted. Oh, yeah. Well, so much for the university. You know, when the guys at Delta House are the better students than the people at McGill, you got problems. Bill, let's go to you. BLM protest in Oregon. Oh, this just happened Friday night over the police shooting of a career criminal who charged at cops with a knife. Now, the suspect survived because after attacking the police and getting shot by the police then performed first aid and kept him alive, kept him from bleeding out in the 9 minutes that it took EMS to get there. And of course, it was the police who called EMS. Is there anybody that BLM won't defend? Any idiotly, violently aggressive criminal they won't defend?
So the police shoot this guy who's charging him with a knife, and then they save his life, the fascist Nazis.
Yeah. Intolerable.
This goes to show you that BLM is not a serious movement. And furthermore, I've been saying this since there's been BLM, way before the George Floyd incidents. The reason you can tell they're not a serious movement is because latest data that I had was 2017 or 18. But of all the blacks that are killed in this country on an annual basis, and it's a horrendous number, it's something like 8,000 murdered a year. 96% of them, let me rephrase this, 4% of them were killed by police under any circumstances, including circumstances like I walk up to a policeman and shoot him in the face and he shoots back, that kind of thing. So when your entire movement is predicated on doing something about 4% of the problem and 96% of your problem you not only do not deal with, but you absolutely make forbidden to speak about, it's not a serious movement. That is a political weapon. And when Black Lives Matter starts caring about black people, really caring about them, then they will be asking to increase funding to the police and not reduce it. Rudy Giuliani saved more black lives than any other man in modern American history by enforcing the law in New York City and dropping that murder rate from being number one in the country down out of the top 20. It's on its way back, though. Don't worry, you've got a socialist in charge there now, so the law once again is not being enforced. But nevertheless, that's the truth of it. What else do you need to know? It is... The legitimate concerns about police brutality are undermined by this precise kind of thing. This is not about police brutality. It's about getting rid of the police. And this is why this movement is so damn destructive and why I hate it so much. Because it's not about what it says it's about. It's about something else, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, it sure is. Black Lives Matter is a noble and sometimes, unfortunately, necessary sentiment. The organization, Marxist street thugs. Simple as that. Scott, let's go to you. Oh, this story broke my heart. There was actually video of this at the New York Post, and I watched it and it ruined my whole morning. A politically correct mall Santa tells a kid he won't bring him a Nerf gun. The kid, of course, breaks down in tears. The mom tries to tell him, no, it's just a Nerf gun, and Santa absolutely refuses. Tells the kid, no Nerf gun for you, right there in the damn mall. So I guess the question is, Scott, is there anything political correctness doesn't ruin?
Did the kid then threaten to bust a Nerf cap in Santa's?
This poor kid is in tears. Hugging on his mom, like a 7-year-old kid, still believes in Santa.
Well, the good thing about this is, while Santa may have deprived Nerf Industries Incorporated amalgamated from the income that they might otherwise have derived, he's not prevented that child from playing guns, because that kid's going to pick up a stick out in the woods and he's going to run around and shoot his brothers 1,000 times a day. And there's just nothing you can do about it. And it's a lot cheaper that way. The way we used to do it out in the woods with the sticks, which were, the great thing about a stick is, and it's not so useful, the Nerf gun, you really can't do this as well. The stick can at one moment be a gun, at the next moment it can be a bow, and at the next moment it could be a cudgel that you're using to knock Little John into the creek as you're, coming across on the log. And so, and we literally would stage cudgel battles after we saw a Robin Hood movie, and we would put a log across the stream or find one that was already there, and we would go out there and we're like fighting with sticks. And then, when you knock somebody into the stream with your cudgel, then you shoot him with your gun, which is the same thing that was your cudgel. Kids play. Kids imagine, kids have fun, and it's not going to make them grow up to be violent street thugs. After all, I haven't actually hit anybody with a cudgel in probably 50 years or close to it.
I thought you were going to say, 5-6 days.
No, yeah, not this month anyway. But so I think people, well-meaning people who think that they're somehow going to reduce gun violence by keeping, keeping Nerf guns out of the hands of suburban children are really misunderstanding what motivates people and understanding what the locus of responsibility for a crime is. And the locus of responsibility does not fall on the Nerf pellet or the device that propelled the Nerf pellet. It falls on the individual who pulls the trigger on the Nerf gun.
Yeah. As the father of 2 young boys, I have to tell you that a significant portion of what used to be my savings account is invested in various Nerf guns, Nerf bullets, and Nerf gun accessories.
Yes.
I mean, significant.
Are they in the vacuum cleaner too? Are you finding them in the vacuum cleaner?
Oh, everywhere. I find them in the dog. I mean, it's just... I wish I were kidding. Folks, I saved the absolute weirdest, made me laugh story for last, and for myself too, of course. And I'm probably going to piss some people off with this one. I don't care. It's a great story. The headline says, anti-5G crackpots are buying Faraday cages for their routers and then bemoaning bad Wi-Fi. This is just great. Okay, so there is a whole strain of paranoid thinking concerning 5G, which is just opening up a little extra bandwidth for higher speed communications for your cell phone. Actually, for cell phones, I find 5G deeply uninteresting. Oh, I can stream a high-def movie still faster than I can watch it. It makes no difference. It has some great industrial applications, especially for AI, but in terms of consumer use, it's completely overblown. That said, there are a lot of people who believe, for one reason or another, that 5G radio waves are going to sap and impurify their precious bodily fluids, and that's fine. But a Faraday cage, its job is to enclose radio waves within it so that radio waves cannot escape the cage. You get them by a Faraday bag, a little aluminum bag that you can put your cell phone in if you don't have anybody tracking you. That's fine. That's great. Might do that myself someday. Avoid these lockdown trackings or whatever. That said, when you put a router in a Faraday cage that you found on Amazon, of course you don't have any Wi-Fi, because the 5 gigahertz frequency, which is not 5G, by the way, is shut down. So is the 2.4. It's all just silence. It's like it's like locking yourself in a chastity belt and then complaining that you're not getting any. It's just the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard of anybody doing. But we're a little crazy as a people, and God bless us for that. So we still have that going for us in this crazy, crazy year. All right, that's your lightning round, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Just a reminder that this content is brought to you by those members. Yes, brought to you. They pay for this content. If you're not doing that, what are you waiting for? Go to the click donate once button. Give us $1 if you like the show. Become a member monthly if you like the show. But we could sure use your support. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.